Hello everybody, welcome to video 27. This video has been entitled Fossilization, the most frequent English mistakes made by English teachers and learners in Chile. So to begin with, the present perfect, articles, prepositions, village, chocolate, good afternoon. Thousands of learners study English for many years. Future English teachers complete university programs, and some even earn postgraduate degrees. Yet many continue making exactly the same mistakes, not because they don't know the rules, but because those mistakes have become automatic. Today, we are talking about one of the most fascinating concepts in second language acquisition, fossilization. So, welcome to Rationale EFL, Reflection, Concrete Practices, and Research. Today, we'll explore why some English mistakes refuse to disappear and what teachers can actually do about them. So, the main issue here is I want you to imagine a teacher who has been teaching English for 15 years or so. Every class includes grammar, vocabulary, listening, speaking, yet every day they still say, I have 35, or she go to school, or explain me. Why? Well, the problem isn't knowledge, the problem is automatic language. So, Larry Selinker, the one you can see in the picture, introduced the concept of fossilization in 1972. He proposed that many second language learners eventually reach a plateau where certain linguistic forms stop developing. These errors become stable, repeated, and automatic. Even when learners know the correct rule, in other words, the learner can recognize the correct sentence but still produces the incorrect one during spontaneous communication. Fossilization happens because language becomes, as we call it, a habit. Our brain becomes efficient. Instead of consciously producing language, we're relying on automatic routines. Unfortunately, those routines are not always correct. Without meaningful feedback, those incorrect patterns become permanent in time. So research over the past 15 years shows that fossilization affects learners at every proficiency level. Even highly proficient speakers continue producing recurrent errors in grammar, pronunciation, collocations, prepositions, and pragmatics. Teacher education programs are not immune to this phenomenon. Teachers can also fossilize their own English, which means they may unintentionally pass these forms on to their students. So these are the most common mistakes in Chile. In terms of grammar, I have 30 instead of I am 30 years old. She go instead of she goes. Explain me instead of explain it to me. Married with instead of married to. Why it fossilizes? Well, these mistakes are not new. Most learners have known the correct rules for years, yet the incorrect version appears first. In terms of pronunciation in Chile, these are the most common ones. Village instead of village or village. Why it happens? Spanish doesn't have the English V sound, and final consonants are often dropped or weakened. The challenge is not vocabulary, it's maintaining the English V sound and the weak final syllable. Weak forms are part of natural speech. This word, most people say chocolate, but it's chocolate. Spanish is syllable time. Learners transfer this pattern to English, so they may say chocolate or chocolate. Native speakers usually reduce it, chocolate. Great example. Most people at school, if you were at school in Chile, good afternoon, but the correct stress pattern here is good afternoon. English is stress timed, Spanish is syllable timed. Different rhythm, different stress. Native speakers stress the important word. Good afternoon. Good is weak. Stress patterns then make a big difference. In terms of pragmatics, for example, in terms of pragmatics, a situation, for example, asking your professor to do something, you may not say open the window. The grammar is perfect, the communication isn't. Could you open the window, please? The words changed very little, the relationship changed completely. Effective communication is more than grammar, it's about respect, context, and also relationship. How can we treat fossilization? Can fossilization disappear at some point? Sometimes. but it requires something different from traditional grammar exercises. Learners need to notice, compare, to receive feedback, and to practice repeatedly in meaningful communication. Awareness then comes before improvement. One useful cycle is notice, reflect, practice, receive feedback, repeat. Language changes through repeated conscious attention. Now, I invite you to explore some concrete classroom practices to improve and prevent students from fossilizing mistakes, because making mistakes is part of the process. But if it becomes a habit, then we should pay attention and focus on preventing that from occurring. Practice one is create a personal fossilization journal. Each student identifies their most frequent mistakes, not today mistakes, their lifelong mistakes. Those become the focus of deliberate practice. You can have your students answer the question, how many times, or mention the mistakes that your teachers have usually corrected, so have been correcting for quite some time. Practice number two, record a 1 minute speech every week. Listen, transcribe it, identify recurring patterns, and students are often surprised to discover mistakes they never noticed before. Practice three, use artificial intelligence. Ask ChatGPT to identify repeated grammatical, pronunciation, or pragmatic patterns. Don't ask, is this correct? Ask, what mistakes appear repeatedly in my English, whether it is an oral discourse or maybe it is a written discourse. AI can become an excellent noticing partner. Now, practice four, shadowing. Students imitate short recordings from native speakers, not only the pronunciation, but also stress, rhythm, intonation, and connected speech. Fossilization affects much more than grammar. Practice number four is quite relevant in our EFL settings. Now, if you're a researcher, you're interested in fossilization, these are some questions worth considering and exploring. Which English features fossilize most frequently among Chilean English teachers? How early does fossilization begin? Can pronunciation fossilization be reversed through shadowing? Does artificial intelligence accelerate noticing? How should teachers' education programs address fossilized language? And should pronunciation and pragmatics receive the same attention as grammar? So my final reflection here is, every English learner makes mistakes. Every English teacher makes mistakes. The real danger isn't making mistakes. The real danger is stopping noticing them. Language learning doesn't end when we graduate. It doesn't end when we become teachers. And it certainly doesn't end after earning a degree. The best English teachers are not the ones who make no mistakes. They are the ones who never stop improving. So thank you for joining Rationale EFL Reflection, Concrete Practices, and Research. In this video, I made you reflect on your own English. You can subscribe, leave a comment, and tell us, for example, answer this question: which English mistakes has stayed with you the longest? Okay, if you've enjoyed this video and if you want to continue watching my videos, like, subscribe to my channel, and join the live session soon. I will be sharing new content, generating and creating new contents for my channel, which are related to English language teaching and learning, English researching, and then also support for those who are learning English. So this is all coming up soon. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.